Oh my god, somebody go feed that poor dog or pet him or give him some water or something. Anyway, if you can put up with the noise, here's a review of one of my favorite werewolf movies, The Howling. This is a movie from 1981, and to me is one of the quintessential werewolf movies. Howling is directed by Joe Dante, who is also famous for stuff like Gremlins and part of Twilight Zone, the movie. Joe Dante, he has a resume so long that I don't think I could get to it all here. You know, maybe I'll waste enough time blabbing my mouth while I can get all those images up on screen there for you. Anyway, amazing body of work. And one thing that's really notable about Joe Dante as a director, and I think really comes out really well in this movie, is the lighting. I don't know if you noticed, but I kind of changed the lighting a little bit in here. Thought it'd be a little more spooky, a little more scary for you kids. Anyway, I'm no Joe Dante. I mean, one thing I gotta say about this movie is very atmospheric. A lot of really moody shots, well-lit close-ups and exterior shots, and just everything just looks really good in this movie. This is 1981, and we're looking around the same time as, like, Friday the 13th. Don't get me wrong, I still like that original Friday the 13th, but this looks a little better. A little more money behind this movie. Now, one thing a lot of people will say about this movie, and I'm going to agree with, is that it has amazing special effects. The werewolf transformation scenes and the final form of the werewolves look really good in this movie. The Howling, okay, well, it was one of like 3 major werewolf movies in the year of 1981. The 3 being, you know, The Howling, American Werewolf in London, and Wolfen, which is one I don't think I've ever actually seen. We'll get to it one day. If you've never seen this movie, please appreciate that there's like 40 plus years since this came out, and movies were made a little bit differently back then. Things move a little slow. There was a lot more focus on like characters, who these characters are, how this unusual occult, supernatural situation plays out in their version of the real world. Well, I wouldn't say 100% realistic, but people act like actual people in this movie and not just characters in a horror movie. Before I go any further, I guess I'd better tell you who's in this movie. You get Dee Wallace. She's like, I guess, our protagonist, and you know, no spoilers, but things aren't great for her in this movie, but she gives a really good performance. She's like the super nice character, super good character in this movie, whereas everybody else in this movie either starts out as a scumbag or turns out to be a scumbag. Other actors in this movie include Patrick Macnee, who was like on the TV show The Avengers, but he's always the old British guy that you've seen in a billion different things, horror movies and spy movies and any drama needing a British guy, he's there. And he'd probably be carrying like an umbrella. And even though he doesn't have a huge role in this movie, you also get Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy's like, I guess, like a TV producer or whatever, and Dee Wallace is one of the reporters for the TV news. I was hoping for, you know, a little bit of the Kevin McCarthy freak out and getting all, you're next, and all that stuff. but it didn't get it here. But he still good actor, good performance. What are you gonna do? You also get Dennis Dugan in this movie. See, I didn't know this, but Dennis Dugan was actually like a director for the longest time. Look at this guy. You've seen him in something before, right? But did you know that he also directed like a whole bunch of like Adam Sandler movies and a bunch of comedy movies that guaranteed you heard of? But no, I remember Dennis Dugan as the unidentified flying oddball. Yeah, from that stupid ass live action Disney movie. It's like a Yankee in King Arthur's court or whatever, but he's a spaceman, or some shit, he's an astronaut that goes back in time, and King Arthur is stupid. And I don't really think much of Dennis Dugan as an actor, but I guess he was fine in here because he didn't stick out as being like an idiot or anything. He was fine. You also get briefly John Kerine in this movie. John Kerine, you know, like the elderly patriarch of the Kerine clan. Anyway, he was notable for horror movies. He was always like the creepy, super old guy in everything that I've ever seen him in. Anyway, he's in here and he's just plays some old guy, but he actually looks like a lot better in this movie than he does in a lot of the other ones that I've seen, where it's like, hey, we need a classic actor, horror movie actor to put in our B movie, give it some credibility. Let's get John Carradine, and the guy's like in his 80s or 90s and he's just falling apart and just super old. And other actors, I guess, like, well, you get like Dick Miller, Mr. Futterman from the Gremlins movies. He also like sold a shotgun to Arnold in the first Terminator movie. Guy's in everything, especially in the 80s. I think he was in Explorers as well. In this one, he plays like a bookstore owner. I don't know, Dick Miller, I mean, you can't not like this guy, right? He's like one of the most recognizable guys in the world, and he's in a billion movies. Unfortunately, he passed away a good number of years ago, but Dick Miller, you're remembered. And then you get, of course, as the, well, not the main werewolf, one of the major werewolves, I guess, in this movie is portrayed by Robert Picardo. Yeah, that's right. The hologram doctor guy from Star Trek Voyager. And I'm not a fan of this guy, I gotta say right now. Played a lot of roles in a lot of movies. He was the bad guy in Beethoven's Christmas, Beethoven Saves Christmas, or Christmas Spectacular or some shit. I kind of hated that movie, but it was filmed about 6 blocks away from where I used to live, so I guess I got a connection there. Oh, he was the guy that, like, I'm pretty sure had sex with a gremlin at the end of Gremlins 2. I mean, I don't know, man. The evidence is there on screen. Watch it. But then his least favorite performance of mine has to be as the fucking cheesy alien at the end of Explorers. Remember that? Ethan Hawke, River Phoenix, and that other kid. They get in a little bubble thing and they go up in space and they meet the most embarrassing aliens I think I've ever seen in a movie. Oh, also a Joe Dante movie. What do you know? It's actually really good in this movie, and it kind of like, it took me a while watching this to get over the fact that that's the same fucking cheesy alien guy that chased Beethoven at Christmas time, and then he became a hologram doctor, and it's like, it took me a while to get over that, but he actually gives a pretty good performance. It's pretty scary, actually. Now, the story like comes in mid-story, really. Dee Wallace is she's like a reporter, and she's investigating on the scene, wants to help catch this serial killer, Robert Picardo. Meanwhile, this serial killer is actually a werewolf. And, you know, I think it's pretty obvious in the opening scene that that's what's going on, but things progress as they would in a 70s or 80s movie. I don't know, it's a product of its time, and it tells a story, and it actually kind of speeds through a lot of plot points, but it's a slow burn. It really is. I mean, we're looking at, at least like 40 minutes into the movie before you actually see a bit of a werewolf. Like 2 seconds or something. It's totally worth it. To me, the payoff is worth it. Because I appreciate those old movies and how it took a while to get to the point. But all along the way, they're building tension. They're building believability. They're building character in their characters. It's because of movies like The Howling that you get all that later stuff and all that stuff that improved upon it. The stuff that didn't improve upon The Howling, sad to say, is the sequels. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen any of them like all the way through, but from what I hear, all of those sequels all just suck, and they're just, there's like 9 of them, 10, something, I don't even know. I haven't looked into it yet. Not only is it good for all the acting, but the cinematography is great. It's it's got a couple of like cheesy jump scares and stuff like that. But I mean, that stuff, this is where they invented that stuff, man. Everything looks good, it sounds good, it's a well-crafted horror movie. So what do I think of The Howling altogether? As a werewolf movie, first of all, blows the shit out of the Wolfman, which, ironically, I know that the Howling would not exist if it weren't for the Wolfman. But, I mean, it's so much better. It's actually scary. It's a engaging, compelling story. It's got its twists and turns that I don't want to reveal. Very well done. I'm going to give The Howling, 1981, going to give it an A-. Minus because even though I grew up watching those slow-paced, slow-burn, almost an hour before you see any monsters kind of horror movies, I enjoy the crap out of this. It's just that, that anticipation. I'm like, I'm used to seeing this, but man, sometimes it's like, just get to the point already. See, the internet has just wrecked us because I don't think enough people appreciate the slow burn kind of movies like this. Anyway, The Howling by Joe Dante, 1981, starring all those cool people that you probably don't even know. It's worth checking it out. If you want to see an older movie about werewolves, a quality older movie, and a well-crafted story, watch The Howling. I highly recommend it, and I gave it an A-. So until our next scary movie, happy Halloween and have a good one, everybody.